He brought her coffee at a romantic getaway, only to overhear a phone call that shattered his world. She said she'd never love him like she loved her ex. But what she didn't know, he wasn't the man you could just settle for. And this time, he wouldn't just walk away. He'd make her regret every word. Let's begin. I wasn't supposed to meet her. Not really. I'd sworn off dating, promised myself I'd spend my 40s rebuilding my life, not risking it again. My ex-wife had done a number on me. 9 years of being made to feel like a burden, like an obligation rather than a partner. When she left, she took half of everything, but honestly, the piece she left behind was the real gift. I didn't realize it then, but that silence, that stillness was the beginning of me. Then came Amber. It was Rick's backyard barbecue in Phoenix. Arizona heat, cheap beer, and plastic patio chairs that felt older than my tools. I almost didn't go, but Rick guilt-tripped me into it. Said I'd been holed up too long since the divorce. Said it was time to be a man again, whatever that meant. Amber was setting up patio furniture with Rick's wife when I arrived. Dark ponytail, denim jeans, and a soft blue top that didn't scream for attention, but didn't need to. Her presence alone made people glance twice. I remember she laughed, loud and unfiltered, when someone dropped a tray of burgers. No pretending, no fake small talk. It caught me off guard. Rick introduced us. This is David, my buddy, the electrician who rewired my whole garage in 2 days flat. Amber looked me straight in the eyes. So, you're the guy who kept Rick from burning the house down. I chuckled. That's me. I save lives one outlet at a time. And that was it. Just like that, the spark was there. Not a wildfire, but something quieter, steadier. Like the pilot light in a furnace that never goes out. We spent that whole afternoon talking. She wasn't put off by my work. In fact, she seemed intrigued. Told me about issues at her own place. We swapped numbers, and before I knew it, she was calling me to take a look at her living room lights. It wasn't a pickup line. She genuinely had a wiring problem. Or maybe that was just her style. Smart enough to use it. Honest enough to mean it. Our first real date. A quiet corner at Desert Grounds. Her favorite cafe. She ordered black coffee. No syrup. No whipped cream. No drama. She was a nurse. Divorced 3 years ago. No kids. Just a clean slate and an open heart. I moved here to start over, she told me that night. I wanted new weather, new energy, and less baggage. Found any of that? I asked. She smiled, still unpacking. Me too, I wanted to say, but I just nodded. That date turned into another. Then another. Then weekends spent on my back patio watching sunsets in the orange-pink skies only Arizona can pull off. She stayed the night. Then she started staying the weekend. And soon, there was a toothbrush next to mine, her shampoo in the shower, her laughter echoing in my once lonely kitchen. I thought I'd found peace. I thought I found home. But peace is a way of lying to you. Because behind that laughter was a history I hadn't touched. Behind every smile was a man she still remembered. And behind every sweet moment was a truth I wasn't ready to hear. But I would, sooner than I could have ever imagined. 3 months in, Amber began to open up about her past, and I thought that was a good sign. I thought we were building something strong, something honest. We were curled up on my patio one night after dinner, grilled steaks, her favorite wine, the stars overhead, when she finally told me why our marriage ended. It wasn't just personality differences, she said, staring into her glass. Brad cheated. With a doctor. Someone he met through work. I didn't move. Just listened. She called me, you know? The doctor. Said she didn't even know Brad was married. Found our wedding photo on his phone and said she felt sick. Amber's voice was controlled, but her hand trembled slightly as she reached for the bottle to pour more wine. He never denied it, she continued. Said he was unhappy. That she understood his ambitions better than I did. She was married, too. Didn't last long once both spouses found out. I said nothing for a long moment. Then, I'm sorry. It's fine, she said too quickly. It's over. But I knew better. Some ghosts never really go away. Some exes live quietly in the rooms we don't clean often. That conversation should have been a warning. But I took his trust. I saw her pain as proof of healing. A few months later, she moved in. Not officially, at first. Just a few nights a week. Then her lease came up, and it just made sense. We were already acting like a couple, sharing dinners, chores, bills. It felt right. It felt stable. And for a while was She brought me breakfast at job sites. She asked about my work, genuinely interested. I'd explain old circuit systems or smart home rewiring, and she'd listen like it mattered. Said it reminded her of nursing. People bring you problems, and you fix them. It made me feel seen, valuable. I started thinking about proposing. But then, the mentions of Brad started creeping in. Not obvious at first. Just small things. Brad used to make steak with rosemary instead of garlic, she'd say. Or, Brad always drove us up to the mountains this time of year. Or, Brad fixed the garbage disposal without calling anyone. At first, I brushed it off. Everyone has history. Everyone compares. But it didn't stop. It got more frequent, more layered. I'd take her out to dinner, and she'd say, Brad and I came here once. He ordered the sea base. One night, I couldn't take it. I asked, do you even hear how often you bring him up? She blinked at me like I'd slapped her. I didn't realize, she said. I'm just talking. Talking. Sure. But I wasn't dating a woman anymore. I was dating a shadow she couldn't let go. Still, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I told myself it was old pain, not current longing, until she started pulling away. It wasn't overnight. It was slow, subtle. She stopped saying good morning with the same warmth. Her good night kisses turned to pecks. She started working late more often, claiming the hospital was short-staffed, even on weekends. I believed her, or maybe I want to believe her, because the alternative, that she wasn't fully with me anymore, was too painful to face. The moment it became undeniable was a Sunday evening. I was in the garage, fixing the hinge on a cabinet when I heard her talking in the living room. Her voice was low, but the door was cracked open. He's a good guy, she was saying. He's kind. He tries. But I can't force feelings that aren't there. A pause. No, I haven't told him yet. It's complicated. He's been through a lot. I don't want to hurt him. Hurt me? By staying. Or by leaving. I didn't barge in. I didn't confront her. I stood there, holding a screwdriver, listening to my heart get carved open by the woman I thought would mend it. And still, I did nothing. Because when you love someone, sometimes you hold on even after they've let go. But the line was coming. And when it would hit hard. It was a Thursday evening when I finally decided to draw a line. We hadn't had a real conversation in weeks, just surface talk and schedules. I told Amber I was taking her away for the weekend. No room for debate. I made us reservations in Sedona. I said, we leave after your shift Friday. I've already cleared the weekend. She didn't even look up from brushing her hair. You made plans without asking me. Amber, I said, keeping my voice even, I've been trying to plan something for months. You either dodge it or tell me you're too busy. So yeah, I made the decision. Because we need this. She paused, eyes locked on mine in the mirror. Something passed between us, like a challenge or a surrender. Fine, she said. Just a weekend. We didn't speak much on the drive up. Her eyes were glued to her phone the entire ride. Texting, smiling faintly. She said it was her sister planning their mother's birthday. I didn't believe her, but I didn't press. The resort was beautiful. Red rock cliffs, quiet trails, clear air. Everything meant to be peaceful. And yet, the silence between us was anything but. That night at dinner, I tried again. I feel like you're slipping away, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Like I'm living with someone who's already halfway out the door. She didn't deny it. Instead, she said, maybe this is just what happens when the spark fades. Maybe we're not supposed to feel fireworks forever. I stared at her, stunned. That's not what this is. This isn't about the honeymoon phase ending. This is about you giving up without saying it out loud. She sipped her wine. You're overthinking it. The next morning, I woke up early. She was still asleep. I walked to the cafe and got her favorite, black coffee and almond croissants. Maybe I thought something small could still reach her. I came back quietly, balancing the tray, heart pounding with the kind of stupid hope only a fool carries. Then I heard it. Her voice, drifting from the other side of the door, low and aching, but not for me. I know he's a good man. He'd do anything for me, she was saying. But I can't help how I feel. My feet froze to the floor. It's not fair to him. But the truth is, I'll never love him like I love Brad. That kind of connection, it only happens once. You don't just feel that again. She paused, then added softly, maybe I should end it. But he's kind. I'm comfortable. Maybe that's enough. I couldn't breathe. My hands were shaking, the coffee tray trembling like a leaf in the wind. Maybe that's enough. Not love. Not passion. Not a future. Just comfort. I stood outside for what felt like an eternity. And then, I walked away. I didn't knock. Didn't enter. I left the coffee on the floor and walked out of that resort with nothing but my truck keys in hand and my heart in shreds. I drove back to Phoenix alone, the highway spinning past like a blur of every lie I didn't want to see. Every time she smiled at me while thinking of someone else. Every kiss that was just muscle memory. Every, I'm tired tonight. That meant more than I let myself believe. By the time I got home, I knew what had to be done. Her things were boxed up before nightfall. Clothes, shoes, books, photos. Every piece of her presence that once made my house feel full now felt like clutter from a story I never truly belonged to. She called around 10 p.m., voice shaking. Where did you go? I answered calmly. I heard you on the phone, Amber. Silence. David, I can explain. No need, I said. Your things will be ready tomorrow. I'll be out when you pick them up. I hung up. No screaming. No accusations. Just the kind of silence that says, this is final. And for the first time in a long, long time, that silence gave me peace. She came 2 days later. Same car. Same perfume. But none of the warmth I used to love. I watched her from my garage window as she sat in her Honda, clutching the steering, like it might tell her what to do. A full minute passed before she finally stepped out. She didn't knock right away. She stared at the front door, as if unsure whether she was welcome. Then, 2 soft rings. I opened it. Her eyes were red, hair pulled back like she hadn't bothered trying to look good. David, please, she whispered. Can we talk? I didn't say anything. Just stepped outside and closed the door behind me. I wasn't about to let her ghost linger in the house 1 minute longer. Talk about what? I said, how you used me for a year while pining over someone who didn't even want you. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. It wasn't like that, she finally muttered. You told someone on the phone you'll never love me like you love Brad. That you're just comfortable. That I'm a good man, but not him. That sounds exactly like that, Amber. I didn't mean, she started. You meant every word. I cut in. Because you weren't lying to them. You were being honest. Probably for the first time in this entire relationship. She looked down. You're right. I didn't want to hurt you. Then you shouldn't have stayed, I said. I would have respected the truth. I could have healed from it. But you made me believe I was enough. That we were building something. When all along, I was just the guy you settled for until your heart stopped aching for Brad. Tears began slipping down her cheeks, but I didn't move. She whispered, you don't understand. What Brad and I had was a lie, I snapped. He cheated on you, humiliated you, and you still put him on a pedestal. You're holding onto a fantasy that's long dead. I was real, Amber. I showed up. I loved you with everything I had. But I wasn't Brad, so I was never enough. She looked devastated, but not because she lost me. No, she looked devastated because the comfort was gone. That's when I walked over to the truck, lifted the tailgate, and handed her the last box. Everything's here. I didn't keep anything that belonged to you. She stood frozen. Please, can't we talk about this? We're talking, I said. And this is me saying goodbye. I did care about you. I don't want to be cared for like a pet, I said. I want to be chosen, loved, fully, without being compared to someone who's not even in the room. She stepped forward, like she wanted to reach for me. I stepped back. You said on the phone that you should end it. That maybe comfort was enough. But let me make it easier for you. Comfort isn't enough. Not for me. I help her load the boxes. We didn't speak after that. Not really. As she closed the trunk, she turned one last time. Her eyes were desperate now. I hope you find what you're looking for. I hope you figure out what you want, I replied. And I hope it isn't just the memory of a man who shattered you. She drove off. Didn't look back. I stood there long after the sound of her tires faded. And for the first time, the house didn't feel empty. It felt clean. It felt like mine again. And I wasn't angry. I was finally free. 6 months passed. The days got quieter. The nights, more peaceful. I kept working, wiring homes, solving problems, doing the kind of honest labor that gives a man purpose. People say time heals everything. That's not true. Time just gives you space to see what hurt you with clarity. Amber didn't break me. No. What she did was show me how dangerously easy it is to be someone's second choice while convincing yourself you're their everything. It took time to unlearn that lie. Then, one morning, I was on a job in the Biltmore area. An old Spanish-style house needing a full rewire. My client, Mrs. Rodriguez, a warm widow with sharp eyes and sharper instincts, brought me iced tea and a turkey sandwich. "You work too hard," she said. "A man like you should have someone bringing him lunch." I chuckled. "I'm not helpless, ma'am. I can make a decent sandwich." "That's not what I mean, and you know it," she said with a twinkle. "My daughter thinks you seem like a good man. She's a teacher. Beautiful, smart. You should meet her." I smiled politely. "I'm not looking to date right now." She nodded slowly. "Because of the last one." I froze mid-bite. I hadn't told her anything. "You don't get eyes like yours unless you've been burned," she said gently. "But don't let a liar make you forget what loyalty looks like." Those words stuck with me. That night, I sat on my back patio, beer in hand, watching the Arizona sky blaze orange as it melted into dusk. I thought about all the mornings Amber had walked through my kitchen like a ghost, pretending. All the nights she'd said, "I'm just tired," when what she meant was, "I'm elsewhere." I'd loved a woman who didn't love me back. And that wasn't weakness. It was just misplaced hope. But hope doesn't die. It matures. It waits. 2 months later, I ran into someone at the hospital while fixing a panel on the maternity floor. A nurse named Olivia. She wasn't loud, wasn't flashy, but she looked me in the eye when she spoke. And when she asked what I was fixing, I said, "My heart, mostly," and she laughed. A real, soft laugh that didn't sound forced. We had coffee that weekend. She told me about her love for reading, how she ran a small book club for underprivileged teens in her spare time. She never brought up her ex. Never compared me to anyone. She asked questions. She listened. She never made me feel like a shadow. One evening, a few weeks into seeing Olivia, I got a text from a number I hadn't seen in months. "Amber, I drove past the house. I hope you're okay." I stared at the screen. My thumb hovered. Then I deleted it. No reply. No hate. No nostalgia. Just silence. Because I didn't need closure. I was the closure. The man she had once called sweet, but not enough. He was building something real now. With someone who didn't need a ghost to feel whole. I didn't get revenge with rage or drama. I got it by moving on. Quietly. Completely. And forever.